always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Entertainment Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Aseel. Hello guys, I missed everyone. How is everyone doing? I hope everyone is doing safe. Everyone is enjoying the weather outside. I know I am enjoying the weather with my family right now and friends. You know, last week it was super sunny in Ohio. The weather is really bipolar right now. You know, it's actually not fun. It's actually really gloomy outside, which is not the best weather, you know, to be in mentally and physically. It's not really exciting. But other than that, it's all good. You know, I hope everyone is doing safe. My family and I had a birthday gathering for my little nephew. He turned 1 like a few months ago, but we kind of waited on his birthday because of, you know, the pandemic, and we wanted to make it small anyways. So we kind of celebrated him. He is the cutest little thing. We had such a great time. He had a little suit on. He looked like a little handsome man. Literally so precious. So we kind of did that. I had some time with my family, enjoyed it with my nephews and nieces. So that was all. So today we will be covering the Grammys. We will have a little talk about Grey's Anatomy. Spoiler alert, if you don't like spoilers, maybe skip ahead that segment. But stick around. We will also talk about shows on Netflix being canceled and even some Oscar nominations. So stay tuned. So I want to start off with talking about Grey's Anatomy because it is one of my favorite medical drama series out there. You know, I think they're right now on their 17th season. I actually stopped watching season 12 only because I had the biggest heartache when Derek Shepherd, spoiler alert, died, and played by Patrick Dempsey. When he left the show, I literally was not able to get over it for over 6 months, and I remember Twitter was trending, and at the time I didn't watch the show at the time, so I was like, who is Derek Shepherd? And that's when I started watching the show, and I binged all 12 seasons in around a month. But then that season where he died, it took me 6 months to watch and another 6 months to get over it. But if you don't know what Grey's Anatomy is, this is a medical drama series that focuses on a group of young doctors at Seattle Grace Mercy West Hospital. And it talks about their careers, their personal life, and, you know, the main character, Meredith Grey, who went through a lot of struggles at home. And, you know, her personality is just very raw. And the show really focuses on that. And, you know, her love relationship with Derek Shepherd, a.k.a. McDreamy. But obviously there's more to the story, and it's not just about Meredith Grey. It's about all the characters on the show and how each one of them has their own story. So it's special, you know. Just be ready for an emotional roller coaster as you watch the show, because that is one thing that no one prepared me for, and no one asked me to prepare myself for, because you will be attached to all the characters, and you will have so many favorites, and you will have comfort characters. I personally had more than one comfort character, and unfortunately, each character that I loved did not have the best ending. So just saying, be ready to be emotionally attached and be able to leave those characters with a good place, you know, that you don't feel like you're gonna be heartbroken after you watch it. I don't promise that you won't be heartbroken. Most likely you will, but this new season, there's a lot of new upcoming things that are happening, and I'm going to talk about that. Some are great, some, you know, are very sad. A lot of people are really sad over them, but I assume a lot of people are going to like what I'm going to be talking about soon. Before I start with the news, I just want to say this new season is literally one of my favorites. I'm not watching it, but I'm watching scenes because Patrick Dempsey is coming back to the show in Meredith Grey's dream. Obviously, he is deceased in the show, but he did come back. He made a comeback, in her dream, which, I think it's like a whole rating scheme, but I mean, it worked. Hey, I'm watching, I'm going back to the show. But here's something great that I think a lot of people will also love is the fact that another character is coming back, and that is Sarah Drew. If you guys watched the show, you'd know who she is. She's April Kepner. She and Jackson Avery, played by Jesse Williams, they had one of the best chemistry on the show, and they also were one of the most popular couples after Meredith and Derek, and I actually think they were the fans' favorite at one point. I used to always see them all over social media. Personally, they were not my favorite. I thought they were a bit toxic, but honestly, they were good. I mean, they had a great chemistry, and I think that's what pulled everything in. And Sarah Drew posted a picture with Jesse Williams, and he actually posted on social media as well. He posted it on Instagram, and they both shared a selfie, and he posted a video of them together. And I think everyone is excited to see them and to see why is she coming back and what type of storyline that's there for her. So when April Kepner left the show, that was 3 years ago. So it was season 14 finale, and she married one of the characters on the show, and she resigned from Grey Sloan to provide medical care for the homeless. So she is coming back. People don't know when she'll be coming back. Season 17, what episode, it's unclear. But, that's always a good sign that she's coming back. And I bet fans are going all over. They're very excited for that because, like I said, those two couple, Japril, I think that's how they say it. I really hope I'm not butchering that. But, April and Jackson are a fave for everyone. So I'm really happy for the fans, and I hope they're, excited and enjoying all the new episodes that are coming out, on Grey's, even though some are very heartbreaking right now. And everyone has been seeing that if you are keeping up with Grey's. And even if you're not even keeping up with Grey's, I feel like everyone knows that characters on the show will break your heart some way or another, I think that's something that's usual with Grey's. Even my sister, for example, she doesn't even watch the show, and I'm like, you should binge it, and she's like, no, I will not allow myself to be heartbroken. So everyone knows that you will be heartbroken if you watch Grey's. But you can come back to being a doctor. I mean, I've seen a lot of people that get in the medical field because of the show, and that's on its own is amazing. So I mean, you never know, you could be inspired and motivated. So here's a warning, this is a spoiler. I know there's someone out there in the world that's on episode 1, season 1, or still in the beginning of the show. So I am warning you right now, you will get a lot of spoilers if you keep listening. But you could, if you'd like to get some spoilers, why not? Anyways, so there is an episode called My Happy Ending, and that was on the new season of Grey's, and that was premiered, I remember, back in November. Anyways, so this episode featured another character that came back to the show. A lot of people assumed it will be Lexi Gray. Lexi Gray is Meredith's half-sister. She was younger, and she died in the most cruel way possible. I don't even want to talk about it again because that is one of the worst episodes that I've watched. But anyways, the surprise to many, it was the returning character of George O'Malley, who Meredith Grey saw him in her dream, because Meredith right now has COVID and she's having a lot of side effects. And like I said, she's having a lot of side effects. And I think the producers and the writers are doing great with bringing back old characters that people love, and I think it's great for the ratings, and that's a great trick, honestly. I mean, it pulled me back. I mean, like I said, I finished the show season 12. It finished for me on season 12 when Derek Shepherd, left the show, or Patrick Dempsey left the show, and Derek Shepherd passed away. But to me, when I saw Patrick Dempsey on one of the titles of the show, I mean, I saw the headline that he's coming back, and I saw his selfie with Ellen Pompeo on Instagram. I was just pulled in. I was like, okay, I'm back to the show. This is definitely a great marketing, tactic, whatever you call it. I'm in. Even if he's back for like 30 seconds, even if he has like a 1 second scene, a lot of people are going to come back and watch it just because it's Patrick Dempsey and just because a lot of people love the character itself. And they loved Meredith and Derek together. So, I mean, that was one of the people that worked with me. Hey, I'm back and I'm watching his scenes and I'm intrigued to see where the story is going. And I think that's great, you know, especially that the show has been running for over 10 years. And I don't think all shows can survive such great ratings over the years like Grey's Anatomy. It just shows how great the writers are as well, and as the characters and the actors. Everyone is great, honestly. But, you know, there are moments where you're like, okay, I think the show should end. But at the same time, it's like it keeps you want to watch and it keeps you intrigued to see what's going to happen next, you know, especially with Meredith's story. She went through it all, but at the same time, she's a great character. She's really strong, and I think the fact that she has a very raw and realistic character to many of us it's one of the factors as to why people keep watching, I think, and, you know, goes back to the other characters as well. So before I jump into the huge spoiler of the new episode that came out of the show, I want to talk about the selfie of Patrick Dempsey and Ellen Pompeo that took everyone by surprise, even me. I was literally screaming like a little girl when I found out that he's coming back to the show. And basically that happened on season 17 when Meredith and Derek were reunited again in a shocking dream sequence. And when I tell you, I was literally, my jaw dropped when I saw the trailer. I was like, no way he's coming back, because he's been gone for like years. So on November 13th, the actors both posted an Instagram selfie of them hugging while wearing face masks on the gorgeous, beautiful beach, reminding fans to wear a mask. And the caption was, "Let's love, let's heal, let's wear a mask" by Pompeo. Ellen posted that. And then Patrick Dempsey posted the same selfie, and he said, "Please, let's come together, respect each other, wear a mask, and thank our first responders. They work tirelessly and risk their lives to keep us safe." You know, I think that's a great message that gives everyone a chance, you know, to watch the show, enjoy it, and at the same time, you know, be reminded of the pandemic and still wear a mask, because it is important to do so. And what's more exciting is that Patrick Dempsey will reappear 3 more times on the show. No one knows when exactly and which episodes, but I mean, we still get to see him even for a few seconds. So that's exciting. All right, guys, spoilers. Dr. Andrew DeLuca was killed off following a heroic battle to stop a sex trafficker in a storyline that stretched back to last season. Yes, this was a huge surprise to everyone. So after DeLuca's battle, he was stabbed and died in surgery. Then he appeared on Ellen Pompeo's magical beach, which is Meredith's dream. Obviously, she's in a coma because of COVID. And he has his farewell with her, and he just walked into the sunset. Very sad exit, but at the same time, very unexpected and shocking for many fans. Mo Jonyotti did post on Instagram a selfie with him and Ellen Pompeo. He did really leave a great cue following a caption that said, "Although our friendship will be everlasting, this ride with you has been incredible, and I will deeply miss sharing the screen with you. Digging deep in scenes, fighting for truth, seeing how much you care about your character and the show after all these years. It's been an honor. DeLuca and Meredith won't be seeing each other anymore, but Giacomo and Ellen will be having much more time for pasta and wine now." I think that's so sweet of him. You know, everyone felt blindsided by the fact that the character, you know, got killed off. Then Ellen did post an Instagram following up with that, and she said, "You will be missed. Thank you for showing up and being the consummate professional every time you walked on set. Great is a masterclass in patience and in having to be present no matter how spontaneous it may get. You aced it. Now you get to go have some fun and apply all that skill. I'm excited for your future. And remember, wine and pasta with me will always be a part of it. Then she said something in Italian. I think these two are one of the cutest. As friends, you can tell they're really great friends. And I hope the best for them, even though a lot of fans right now are heartbroken. But it'll get better. All right, guys, stay tuned because we will be talking about the Grammys. We will also be talking about shows on Netflix being canceled and Oscar nominations.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now. Don't bother. What's hot on Netflix and everything in between. That's gsmcpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
Hi guys, welcome back. So in the segment before this, we spoke about Grey's Anatomy. We had a bunch of spoilers, most importantly was about the character DeLuca exiting the show, which is very sad. But on a happy note, we're going to talk about the Grammys and the highlights of it on today's segment. So due to COVID, guys, there was a 6-week delay to the Grammys, but finally they had a ceremony. It was hosted by Trevor Noah with loads, and I mean there was a lot of social distancing. Everyone at the table was wearing a mask. All celebrities had a mask on, which I actually really appreciated and I really liked that. It felt awkward at times watching them perform or just them sitting down at their own table, and there was a lot of awkwardness going on, but they made it work, which is really important. And at the end of the day, what matters is everyone being safe and healthy. But there were a lot of big wins, and most importantly, Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Billie Eilish, and more. So not to mention that there were performances as well, and a lot of celebrities were attending virtually, which I found very smart. Their presence was there, so that's important, and that's phenomenal. For that to happen. Some of them made it in person, some of them were virtual. So the 63rd Annual Music Award took place on March 14th, which was on a Sunday. And I assume a lot of people were able to watch. Most people are off on Sundays. So are you going to sleep? No, let's watch these great performances. And, with the socially distancing part about it, I think it was interesting to watch how they managed to do that as well. I think the best moments was when Lady Gaga won her award with Ariana Grande for being the best group performance / pop duo. And what's so funny is that Gaga was watching the awards in Italy where it was past 10 p.m. and Ariana Grande was trying to wake her up to watch the show, and she tweeted about it as well. So Ariana Grande posted a tweet, and she at Lady Gaga, and she said, "Mother Monster, wake up." So she was asleep, She didn't accept her award over video, but at least someone tried to wake her up. And then Ariana did also say in another tweet, she said, "Eternally, deeply grateful for you, for this experience, to have been a part of this song and this celebration of healing and recovery, to be able to dance in the rain with you, to call you my friend, my dear friend, and to now share this. Beyond thankful. Congratulations, Queen." And then she did say something in Italian, and I don't want to butcher it, but I assume it's something very lovely and sweet. But this whole moment was actually funny / cute and very genuine. Also, there was an awkward moment when the Strokes rock album won for The New Abnormal. And during the pre-show, they were not sure if they won, and some of them were saying it's cutting out, who won, did we win? And that's all because it's virtual, and technology could always not be helpful during these moments, but it was definitely a moment to watch for a good couple of seconds. But congratulations to them. Harry Styles' Grammy opening was a huge success. He performed Watermelon Sugar, which took home the prize for Best Pop Solo Performance. So everyone on Twitter, and I mean literally everyone that was watching the Grammys, was talking about his Gucci leather suit because the colors he chose and everything was immaculate, top notch, 100% love it. Go see pictures. He chose lime green, banana necklace, a whole lot of gold rings. I loved the full look. It looked like something out of this, world. I don't know how to explain it, but honestly, it was just something different, and I love seeing something different, and it's definitely different because everyone was talking about how good he looked, and he did look extremely good. Anyways, I really felt like this whole Grammys this year was a little tiny music festival. And I want to talk about Lizzo, who was asked to announce Best New Artist Award. And I want to talk about Lizzo. I love her. I love her TikToks. I think she gravitates a lot of great energy, good energy, positivity, and I love that for her. So she announced Best New Artist Award. Not to mention, she made sure everyone in the crowd was aware that she won the Grammys 3 times herself, and she deserves it. Lizzo wasn't even up for an award at the Grammys, but she was able to still manage to steal the show. She took to the 2021 ceremony outside stage to present the award for Best New Artist, like I said. She made a big sweep, winning Best Pop Solo Performance for her song Truth Hurts, Best Traditional R&B Performance for Jerome, and Best Urban Contemporary Album for 'Cause I Love You. So while she was on stage, she did slip and curse, but she immediately did apologize, and she covered her mouth in surprise because she was in shock, I guess. So there are obviously guidelines you have to follow during the whole award ceremony. And what was really charming is when she was about to open the envelope, she struggled. She had really long nails on, and that was preventing her from opening the envelope. But, took her a few tries, and she ended up opening the envelope and announcing the winner. It was also such a cute moment when Megan Thee Stallion was laughing at Lizzo, and Lizzo was like, "Megan, stop laughing at me," before she announced that Meg was the award's winner. So Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion had an amazing performance as well. Do you remember their song WAP? Well, that was what they performed at the Grammys. Their dual performance started with Megan doing a version of Savage, and then after that, the song actually did win Best Rap Song. And then during this whole time, Cardi B brought Robot Bond Girl to her new single Up, and then they unleashed WAP. Oh my god, I also want to mention one thing. Cardi B's WAP performance, her outfit alone was 18 pounds, and I applaud her for that. That is hard. I bet it took a lot of strength from her to do the performance with, but the custom rose gold chrome outfit was a huge hit, and I loved it on her, and I think she did great. She did awesome. She exceeded everything, honestly, and she looked beautiful and sexy. And the outfit definitely worked because clearly WAP went on to become one of the night's most talked about performances on Sunday. So they did well. And Grammys history was made that day. Yes, history literally was made, and that is thankfully because of Beyonce herself, the queen. So when history was made, this is how it happened. Megan Thee Stallion and Beyonce were taking home the award for Best Rap Song, and that's when Trevor Noah did not let them leave the stage before he made the announcement. This is when he shared that Beyonce was the most Grammy-winning women artist with 27 Grammys. And her reaction was priceless. She was in literal shock. But at the same time, she had to literally get the news in the moment. So that was a part of it. And moments later, she literally broke her own record by winning another Grammy, which makes it the 28th for her, for her performance with Black Parade. An honor, honestly. I love her, and I think no one else deserves it. And if anyone deserves it, it's definitely the queen herself, Queen Beyonce. And I think she deserves the Grammys, not because she's Beyonce, but because her music has a lot of depth to it. The lyrics itself deserve this. It has a lot of cultural importance and an important message that people tend to forget. And I think that alone is very special, that she holds and she tries to connect with others with. And music is a way to do that. Like, what she puts out there is a masterpiece on its own. So I think a lot of people need to recognize that so they don't feel hurt or they're not hating on her, because a lot of people, other celebrity fans are hating on her. But if you listen to her music and the lyrics she puts out, you'll understand why she made history. Music Beyonce puts out there is incredible and iconic and very, very well deserved. And it tells a story. I also want to talk about Taylor Swift. She won her first Grammys when she was only 20 years old. And I think that was just the beginning. Taylor Swift won Album of the Year 3 times, and she would be the first woman to win the award 3 times. Successful singer has managed to rack up 41 Grammy nominations and 11 wins. And she obviously took home Album of the Year when she was only 20, like I mentioned, and that made her the youngest woman of the award show in show's history. So we love seeing women successful. And that's not the only record she holds. Even in 2016, she became the first woman to win Album of the Year more than once. And in 2021, she became the first woman to win Album of the Year 3 times. So obviously, with great accomplishments like that, a lot of people did congratulate Taylor Swift and Beyonce for their achievements. Michelle Obama herself even took it to Twitter and said, "So amazed by Beyonce and her record-breaking 28 Grammys wins. Congrats, Queen Bey. Album after album, your music continues to define and elevate the moment, bringing us joy, soothing our pain, and filling our hearts with so much pride." She also did say, and congrats to Taylor Swift on her record-breaking 3rd Grammys win for Album of the Year. I'm so proud of all the artists who continue to use their music and talents to inspire us. I also want to talk about BTS. Their performance was everything that people talked about. If you know BTS, you know how huge they are, how big their fan base is. I mean, their fans are literally everywhere. The executive producer of the Grammys even said, if you look at it, they are singing live and it's all shot in one go. I think there's only one cut in it. And if that tells you anything, it tells you that the group puts their best foot forward in any show. And I feel for the fans, and I kind of understand why they're upset too, because BTS did not win any Grammys. But I mean, their performance was amazing. So that is something to always recognize them for and always appreciate that about them, because they never disappoint. Billie Eilish had a huge reaction when she accepted the award for Record of the Year for her song Everything I Wanted. She did not feel like she deserved the award, and she wanted to give the award honor to Megan Thee Stallion for Savage. She even said, "You had a year that was untoppable. You are a queen. I want to cry thinking about how much I love you. You are so beautiful. You are so talented. You deserve everything in the world." And then she also did say, "This is really embarrassing for me. You deserve this." I think both women deserve the award, but both had their great moment and they both did definitely shine. And back to Beyonce, she shared a photo of Blue Ivy at the Grammys because she did win her own Grammy Award. And Beyonce said at the award show, she said, "I am so proud of you and I'm so proud to be your mommy." And guys, let me remind you, she is only 9 years old and she won the award for the music video Brown Skin Girl. And Beyonce did look absolutely stunning in her custom corseted silver mesh look by Burberry. And that was after the show, but very well put together. And that was it for the highlights for the Grammys, guys. Stay tuned because we will be talking about Netflix canceled shows and Oscar nominations in next segments.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Hello guys and welcome back. I actually missed you a lot. So let's have a little recap on what we talked about in the last segment. It was about the Grammys. I hope you did not miss it. But a little recap, we did say that Beyonce made history by becoming the most awarded woman in Grammys history. Taylor Swift won Album of the Year 3 times, making her first woman to win the award 3 times. Iconic. All of them are iconic. Billie Eilish Record of the Year award, and Harry Styles winning his first Grammys. BTS not winning any Grammys, but at the same time, they had a top-notch performance. They exceeded all limits, and, Michelle Obama even congratulating Beyonce and Taylor on Twitter for their Grammy wins. So there was a lot going on, and Lizzo's funny little announcement, everything was just cute, funny. Their social distancing experience as well was a part of it. But that was all for the Grammys segment. And today we will be talking about renewed Netflix shows and some that unfortunately will be canceled or are already canceled. So let's talk about that. I will start off with talking about Emily in Paris. It is no surprise that the show is getting renewed. The show got a lot of reviews from professional critics and critics even on social media. And I remember when that show came out, everyone on TikTok was going on trends, trying to be like Emily, wanting to go back to Paris or wanting to visit Paris one day. So it obviously was a huge hit for everyone on social media, and Netflix bought that, so that's why they will be renewing the show for season 2, and that's not something anyone is expecting less of, but there are people out there that did not like the show, and there was controversy surrounding it, especially those that live in Paris or are French themselves. So yes, You guessed it, the show was really popular with the audience in America, but not everyone was charmed by it, and not everyone was satisfied with the content that was perceived on the show. Short and very fast. If you don't know what this show is about, it's about a girl who moves to Paris to start her new job there, and obviously every day is an adventure for her, and every day is an experience for her. And you know, she's all about croissants and dressing up, and within that there's an adventure that she follows. Typical, right? But ever since the show premiered, French critics did not stop from dragging it, and they literally were ripping it to shreds in their even radio stations or anywhere they were talking about it. One critic even said, "We learned that the French are all bad, that they are lazy and never arrive at the office before the end of the morning, that they are flirtatious and not really attached to the concept of loyalty, that they are sexist and backward, and of course, that they have a questionable relationship with showering. Yes, no cliche is spared, not even the weakest." Obviously, this attention, it was it, I don't know if it was good or bad, but it obviously was good because it helped the show become renewed, and there will be a season 2. Regardless of critics and what they said, but popularity overtakes everything nowadays, and when Netflix sees that, they want to continue in it. So be tuned for season 2, guys. Next show is called White Lines, and unfortunately it dropped May 2020, but 3 months later the show got canceled. The show is about a woman whose brother went missing for 20 years. The brother worked as a DJ, but turned up dead literally 20 years after he has gone missing, and the sister travels to the island he went missing to investigate his death, or, you know, the whole case. And maybe it could have been a good story if it continued, I don't know. But if you want to kill 10 hours of your time, go ahead and watch this show. The Umbrella Academy is really, really popular. Now, I have never watched the show, and I feel like I should watch it because it's really popular and everyone talks just about the Umbrella Academy sometimes. But it is renewed, so that's great news for the fans. And the show revolves around a dysfunctional family of adopted siblings who are superheroes, and, you know, who reunite together to solve a mystery of their father's death. Honestly, it feels like a very interesting story. Maybe I should watch it. Why not? I mean, there's a reason why it's popular, right? Whether it was good or bad, there's a reason. Netflix's most popular crime drama is coming back after 2 seasons. The beginning of Narcos is set for a 3rd season, and there are many changes coming to the show, and that is up to the fans to watch, because I will not be spoiling anything. But, you know, that sounds very... The show October Faction is canceled. This is a show that is about a Canadian family who uncovers their own supernatural powers and the burden that comes with that. Monster hunting, demons, all of that shenanigans. Honestly, this kind of reminds me of Supernatural, but I don't want to compare because I did not watch this show. But it does talk about monster hunting couples and their children, you know, and that's kind of the whole story. Unfortunately, it got canceled, and I feel like only a little amount of shows that are like that can really survive nowadays. But if you watch Supernatural, it's about 2 brothers that hunt monsters. Obviously, they don't have any superpowers, but I think if you are looking for something like that, definitely go for Supernatural. Love the show. It's pretty, has a lot of seasons, but it ended, so there's no cancellation or anything. You don't have to worry about that. But the show is great. It has Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki, so what better do you want? You know, love the actors, great actors. The cast itself is amazing. So I don't know why I'm talking about Supernatural, but this reminded me of it somehow. But go ahead, if you're interested, go search it up and watch it. It's on Netflix. The Babysitter's Club is renewed. This is originally a novel, but it was a global hit. So there is no wonder that Netflix is renewing the show, and it's doing very, very, very well. Okay, so I'm kind of confused as to why this show got canceled, because it looked like it had a great message to it, and the storyline seems like it's different and not the usual storylines, you know, that are right now being remade over and over again. So the show AJ and the Queen got canceled. This show is about a traveling drag queen and a 10-year-old stowaway. This show did not make it, and that's kind of unfortunate, especially that it had an important message to it, and it was trying to spread love and acceptance, you know, wherever you are, wherever you go. But I guess the package did not work for the audience, and it got canceled. I feel like there are shows out there that deserve a chance, and I feel like this show is one of them. This next show is also one of these shows that I'm actually really interested in, and I might go binge, even though, unfortunately, it got canceled. It's a science fiction show. This show is called Altered Carbon, and it takes place in a world where consciousness can be transferred to different bodies. And honestly, that sounds so interesting. I am so intrigued. And it's about an investigator who solves a murder, and it could be confusing, honestly. But at the same time, it's only like 2 seasons, 18 episodes, so that's really easy to just watch and binge watch. And I'm kind of interested, but I'm only terrified of the fact that I might be too interested, that I won't be able to handle the fact that there is no ending to it. I hate that there is sometimes with these shows, if they just get canceled and there's not even a chance for them to end the show with an episode or 2. It's like, okay, well, you make an ending in your head with whatever episode it ended with. I just don't like that, but unfortunately it happens a lot. So F is for Family. It is renewed for its 5th season. So that's great news, but on the downside, it is the last season for the show. So I guess you guys get to enjoy one more last season. The animation for this show really reminds me of Family Guy. Like, it is very, very similar. I did not watch it. Not gonna lie, I have not watched this show, but it seems like something I would be interested in. I would actually really, really like. So the show Away got canceled, and I feel like that's really understandable considering the fact that the show cost Netflix $6 million per episode to make. That is insane, guys. Okay, and I feel like you need a huge audience to be able to keep the project going, and unfortunately Netflix was not able to gather enough audience for them to continue the show. You need a big enough audience to pay the bills for that show. Even regardless of who the main actors are or who the lead characters are, you'll need a lot of people to watch the show in a short amount of time, and I guess they weren't able to pull that, unfortunately. So this next show I'm going to talk about is one of my favorite shows on Netflix. I literally binged it in a whole day. I stayed up all night just watching the show. Okay, I got really tired, honestly, and did not get sleep. I was sleep deprived, but totally worth it. I'd do it again. I watched it twice already. The show Dead to Me is renewed for a 3rd season, and it's about 2 friends who bond during therapy. And one of the friends, you know, she lost her husband, and I'm not going to say more because it's dark humor, and if you like dark humor, you'd love the show. I'm not going to put any spoilers in there, but the show has been renewed for a 3rd and a final season, unfortunately, but it is so successful with both the actors involved, and the show itself received multiple Emmy nominations, and that makes me so happy, and I'm so glad that they decided on a 3rd season. I wish there was like a 4th and a 5th and a 6th, honestly, but you know, you gotta be excited and happy with what you have at the moment. So I am so excited for this new season, guys. Please please go give this show a try. It's called Dead to Me on Netflix, and I'm not getting paid for advertising, I swear, but it's definitely worth it. It'll make you laugh. It'll give you, a little, like, I Am Not Okay With This is another victim of the pandemic, and it got canceled despite the fact that it got great and positive reviews. So the show You is also renewed for a new season. This show is about a serial killer who falls in love and develops a very, very toxic and an unhealthy obsession with the other main character that Joe, who is the serial killer, falls in love with. This is a psychological thriller, and I really recommend this because it is worth watching. It will keep you on your toes, and I recommend watching it at night to give you that thriller action part of it. And it's really creepy, so really be aware of all of that. It's not for kids, so don't watch it with your kids. Right, guys, so unfortunately the segment is coming to an end, and some of our shows are being canceled and some are being renewed. There's always the good and the bad. So stay tuned for our last segment, and we will be talking about Oscar nominations. So that should be very exciting.
Golden State Media Concepts bring you Book Review Podcast, a haven for bookworms of all ages and the widest genres, from mystery to memoirs, romance to comedy, fantasy to sci-fi. If you love to read, this is a podcast for you. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Book Review Podcast.
Hello guys, and welcome back. So in our last segment, we talked about Netflix canceled shows and even their renewed ones. Now, I know a lot of people are probably really sad and heartbroken that their favorite show is getting canceled, and some are actually very happy that their show is getting renewed. So we kind of spoke about that, had a little chat about my favorite shows on Netflix that are getting renewed, and those that are getting canceled. And right now, we're going to be talking about Oscar nominations. The 93rd Academy Award will be on April 25th, 2021. And that is 2 months later after they originally planned it. But, due to the impact of the pandemic on the cinema, they have to do that. And it will honor the best films released between January 1st, 2020 and February 28th, 2021. And it will take place in LA at the Dolby Theater and Union Station. On March 15th, during a huge global live stream, that's when they announced the nominees for the 93rd Academy Awards. And it was released by Priyanka Chopra and Nick Jonas. Sorry, Priyanka Chopra Jonas. So before we even start with the 2021 nominees, I want to talk about my favorite moments in the Oscars history is when Rami Malek won his Oscar for Bohemian Rhapsody as Freddie Mercury, and that was in 2019. He was the best and first actor of Arab heritage to win an Oscar, and I think that alone was such a moment for me. I remember I was sitting with my sister and was watching the Oscars just to see Rami Malek because, first of all, he played Freddie Mercury by the T. And not only that, but he was born to Egyptian parents in LA, and he rejected typecasting roles as a terrorist before being invited to play Freddie Mercury. So he was always casted into one role, but Freddie Mercury literally gave him the opportunity to showcase his talent and allow him to gain more opportunities into the industry. And that alone got me so happy. And I remember the day he won, my sister and I, we literally were screaming our lungs out because, one, we're Arab, so, we'd love to support our people. And two, he deserves it. It's not like he didn't deserve it. He deserved it. If you watched Freddie Mercury's performance, his real performance live versus Rami Malek's, you'll see there's literally no difference. Even, it comes down to even like the way he sips his Coke during one of the scenes, it's the same way. So to someone that really, really did all that hard work, he deserved the award itself. Before Bohemian Rhapsody, he was best known for the lead role of the TV series Mr. Robot. But Freddie Mercury, that role really gave him the time to shine. It gave everyone an eye to see this great talent that he holds. And it just shows that sometimes it's not about the background of someone, but really if you look past that and allow people opportunities, you'll see success. All I'm saying is I'm glad he is now expecting to pick out his roles in the future and is even given the opportunity, versus just have limited options. Now he doesn't have limited options, and thanks to Freddie Mercury and Rami Malek's talents, he's able to do that. But seriously, let's talk about the Oscar nominations for 2021. The first one is The Trial of the Chicago 7. This film is based on the infamous 1969 trial of 7 defendants who were charged by the federal government with conspiracy and more. This next one is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, played by Viola Davis, and she is a living legend. I have not watched the movie, but I actually will because I love her, and I think everything she is in, she portrays it perfectly. This movie is an adaptation of August Wilson's 1982 drama of the same name, and it's about the legendary blues singer Ma Rainey and her band of musicians. As I was looking at comments from people, a lot of people were saying that the only negative remark about this movie, that it wasn't long enough and people wanted to actually watch more. And that tells you, if it tells you anything, it tells you how great the movie is. Next one is Pieces of a Woman. This is more of a heavy movie. It's not for everyone, obviously. You can tell by the name, it's more of a grieving story. And the story is simple. It's about a woman named Martha who is in labor. Her child is being born at home with the aid of a midwife named Ava. And, the whole birthing situation was very, very difficult. And unfortunately, the newborn dies. And that's when they start talking about the grieving process of the whole movie. And this movie is, like I said, it's very heavy. So if you're not into that type of movies, maybe it's not for you, but I think there's a story in here that the director is trying to tell and was very clear about it and very simple as well. So this next movie is The White Tiger, and it's a drama movie, and it's about a man who gets into an Indian family's life, and they're rich, and he's an ambitious driver. He uses his skills to escape from poverty and rise to the top. And the white tiger symbolizes earth and soil. I kind of wanted to say that because I feel like that symbolizes a lot of what's going on in the movie, especially with the whole renowned strength and fierceness that the character holds to get himself out of poverty. The next one is The Life Ahead, and this movie is about an Asian Holocaust survivor who creates a bond with a young immigrant from Senegal who robbed her. And this movie is not a true story, but it is an adaptation of the 1975 French novel The Life Before Us. This next movie is The Midnight Sky, and it is directed by George Clooney himself, and he's actually in the movie. The budget for this movie, by the way, is $100 million USD. I just wanted to say that because that's a lot of money. But the movie, if you watch the trailer, you understand why the budget is really high like that. It's about a lone scientist in the Arctic who races to contact a crew of the astronauts returning home to a mysterious global catastrophe. One is called Crip Camp, a disability revolution, and this is about a groundbreaking summer camp that helps build a movement for those with disabilities, forging a new path towards a greater equality. And this is very inspiring for a lot of people to watch, to see that, our differences don't make us weak, but they make us unique. And I think this documentary really focuses on that, and it's very emotional, inspiring as well. The documentary will take you on a ride from oppression to empowerment to freedom. This next movie is The Five Bloods, and it's about 4 African American veterans who returned to Vietnam decades after the war to find their squad leader's remains, and they end up finding a stash of buried gold. So this next one is called My Octopus Teacher, and this movie is about a filmmaker who creates an unusual friendship with an octopus living in South African kelp forest. So this next one is an animation movie, but it's not for kids, it's adult animation. And if you've watched adult animation, you'd know how they make them short and very straight to the point. This is called If Anything Happens, I Love You. It's about grieving parents' journey through an emotional void as they mourn the loss of a child after they were killed in a tragic school shooting. This next nominated animation movie is indeed for kids, and it's about a character who builds a rocket to the moon on a mission to prove the existence of a legendary moon goddess. The movie The Father is also nominated for an Oscar, and this movie is about a man who refuses all type of help or assistance from his daughter as he ages. And he tries to make sense of his changing circumstances, and he begins to doubt his loved ones, and the story circulates around that. This next movie is in theaters actually right now, and it's called Promising Young Women. And this movie is about a young woman who was traumatized by a tragic event that happened in her past, as she goes out and seeks out vengeance against those who cross her path. I also want to talk about Best International Feature Films that were nominated, such as Another Round, and that was created in Denmark. It's a Danish movie. Better Days, Hong Kong, and Mandarin, Collective, Romania. In Romanian, The Man Who Sold His Skin is a Tunisian movie. It's obviously in Arabic. And then Bosnia, there's another Bosnian movie that's also nominated. So it's great to see a lot of, international movies are given opportunities and are nominated, because a lot of them have depth in them. And I guess that is one of the biggest reasons as to why they are getting more recognition these days. Like, for example, the movie The Man Who Sold His Skin. This is about a Syrian refugee who lives in Lebanon and allows his back to become a canvas for a famous tattoo artist. And, shortly collectors become interested in his work of art. The movie Better Days is about a bullied high school student and a small-time criminal who become the prime suspects in the murder of a teenage girl. The movie Another Round is about 4 high school teachers who consume alcohol on a daily basis to see how it affects their behavior, whether it was socially or even on their professional mannerism or, their lives in general. The movie Collective is about a journalist or different journalists who uncover healthcare fraud in the wake of a deadly nightclub fire in Romania in 2015. So, Best Live Action Short Film. I want to name a few: Feeling Through, The Letter Room, The Present, Two Distant Strangers, White Eye. Also, Best Animated Short Films, like I said, If Anything Happens, I Love You, that's nominated under that category, Oprah, Yes People. And then Best Visual Effects as well, Love and Monsters by Matt Sloan, The Midnight Sky by Matthew Cashpier, and many others as Mulan, The One and Only Ivan, Tenet. Best Film Editing, Sound of Metal, The Trial of the Chicago 7, The Father, Promising Young Women. Best Original Song, Fight For You, Hear My Voice, Speak Now. Best Original Score, The Five Bloods, Mank. Minari, News of the World, Soul. Best Costume Design, Emma, My Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, Mulan, Pinocchio. Best Cinematography, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, News of the World, Nomadland, The Trial of the Chicago 7. Best Adapted Screenplay, The Father, Nomadland, The Night in Miami, The White Tiger. I also want to talk about the movie Mank. It led the nominees with 10 different nominations, and it is the only Best Picture nominated film. Mank is about a screenwriter. Let me make it clear. He's an alcoholic screenwriter who has to race to finish Citizen Kane, and it takes place in the 1930s. Anyways, guys, I'm excited to watch the Oscars. So who is? I mean, there's a lot of nominees out there and a lot of them deserve the win. But this was all for today's segment. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Thank you for listening to the GSMC Entertainment Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I would like to ask that you please remember to subscribe to the show and write a nice review. That would actually really help us again. Also, if you can please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you so much. See you next week.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.